tous.
Merci à tous d'être présents pour ce dernier webinaire midi-map de l'année. Aujourd'hui, ça va être un webinaire à saveur professionnalisante où la professeure Brigitte Leblon, qui est professeure à l'université du Nouveau-Brunswick en télédétection, va vous présenter ce qui se passe après le doctorat et puis les possibilités autres que l'académique, puisque finalement les statistiques montrent que assez peu de personnes continueront dans l'académique ou décrocheront des postes de professeurs. Donc la présentation va être en anglais. Brigitte, je te laisse présenter tout ça.
Merci bien. Donc, je vais partager mon écran. Voilà, vous voyez mes diapositives.
Ouais, super.
Alors, good morning everyone. So, yes, it's eventually about, particularly on the PhD level, how we can facilitate the transition from PhD to the labor market. And I will come with some provocative statement. In The Economist, so it's a journal about economy, in December 2010, they say about the doctoral degree, the disposal academic, why doing a PhD is often a waste of time. We will debate afterwards about these things. Now, in the Global Mail on Friday, April 12, 2013, it was an article on who will hire all the PhDs, not Canada universities. And in Nature in 2017, many junior scientists need to take a hard look at their job prospect. Permanent jobs in academia are scarce, and someone needs to let PhD students know. And so I will let you know that effectively jobs in academia are scarce. So you are part of this curve. We have an increasing in the total enrollment in Canadian PhD program, and this comes from a report made for the Conference of Canada in 2015, and also the PhD granted by Canadian institution is also increasing. And this report also gives a good overview of what are the different percentage in according to the different type of employment for PhDs. And you see that only about 20%, less than 20% will be full-time university professor. A big part will be part-time, so it's like the contract academic employees called chargé de cours in French. And we have research and teaching assistants. So you see that here the employment is very diverse. And so you need to be prepared to reach a very diverse job market. So if you think to do a PhD to become professor, you have exactly 20% chance to get it. So I means that about 80% of you guys will never show up as professor in university. So you need to be prepared for other job type of job. Up, excuse me. I will again. Up. I'm not used with the okay. So again, in this same report, you have here the various rate according to the type of PhD studies. In your case, you are in the agriculture, natural resource and conservation part. And so you see that only 12.9% will become full-time professor, and but you will have non-post-secondary employment 25%. So in business, 32%, humanities, a little less, 20%, mathematics, computer is also your area of expertise, 30%, social and law and so on, about 40%, education, also 25%, physics and technology, 30%, architecture, engineering, 43%, and agriculture, 24%. So 62% of the graduate in 2015 went to non-post-secondary education employment. And there are some universities who organize nice transition program. One is the Concordia University Grad Pro Skill. You have the University of British Columbia Graduate Pathway to Success. Moon Memorial University also has an enhanced development of graduate experience. University of Toronto has a graduate professional skill program. Simon Fraser has the Apex program. Ontario Consortium for Graduate Professional Skill Training also is My Grad Skill. And then you have the MyTax Accelerate who also offer some training program. And you have also a new type of PhD which could be very interesting. It's a little like your Create program. And one is the UBC PhD Co-op program. You have a UBC Public Scholar Initiative. And UFT as in the Department of Biochemistry as a graduate professional development course. Elsewhere, there's also a general problem outside Canada, and you have, like in Denmark, you have the industrial PhD program. In the United States, you have University of California, San Francisco, motivating informed decision program. In Germany, you have the Graduate School of Excellence in Material Science in Johannes Gutenberg University of Mainz and Max Planck Institute for Polymer Research and University of Kaiserslautern. And then UK, you have VT, which is a non-for-profit organization that focuses on professional development for PhD research and research staff. But I think the most successful initiative in this regard is the Association Bernard Grégory in France. It was created in 1980 and is specialized in recruiting and career development for doctoral candidates and PhD holders. Who was Monsieur Bernard Paul Grégory? He was head of the French National Center for Scientific Research, known as CNRS, head of the European Organization for Nuclear Research, the CERN, and head of the General Delegation of Scientific and Technical Research, DGRST. And so in 1980, he conceived to create an association to promote the PhD degree. And so what the ABG are doing, they have a job bank, a library for CVs, they organize training, workshop, coaching session, seminar, they have an online tools, a doctorate candidate's guide to the self-assessment of professional skill, and the DocPro catalog of skills of PhD holders. And they do a job fair only for PhD, and they have also a mentoring program. They just create the EDN program. It's a 5-group session or individual interviews spread over 2 or 3 months, group of up to 8 PhD students, and it's a 3-step approach that allow each doctoral student to specify his professional project and to carry out an action plan of his job search. So he presents his research team to different types of socioeconomic actors, analyze the conduct of his research project, and take a look at the scientific, technical, and transversal competence, acquire and value them in his presentation, and define new career paths and targets, develop a professional project, and know how to defend it. The expect result is a summary document of about 10 pages and an oral presentation of the results of the exercise before a panel of professionals. Another way is also, and this was a dual master program, but could be also a PhD level, and I'm currently create this kind of things. An answer create with DFG, with Germany, is doing a dual degree program, and partly in 2 continents, so this also open new doors. And in the case of Transferem, we have 5 universities in Europe: Bangor, Freiburg, Eastern Finland, Padova, and Boku in Austria. And the nice thing is that this degree is valid in 46 countries in Europe, and it's a 24-month program with 1 single thesis for both degree and a work internship opportunities, both in Canada and in Europe. And so this is all the things is working. So the first year you have course and internship in Canada, and the second year you have course and internship in Europe, and then 1 thesis. Now, still doing a PhD for the country is very interesting, because the GDP per hour work increase with the percentage of PhD in the reference population. And you see here the Canada is among all the OECD countries, Canada is in the middle. So you have a link between the GDP and the percentage of PhDs. So what could be my recommendation here for you guys? First, for all the university and create this 1 example, creating innovative PhD program. And 1 PhD who could, and in your case also maybe you can think about, taking the chance of your PhD to do together an MBA. This idea was coming from the vice president of ANSERC. And she told me, forget to have your PhD trained to do diploma university teaching, rather give them an MBA together with the PhD. So this open door. Industrial PhD, core PhD is also very good, international PhD also. I would suggest, and I try again with ANSERC, but maybe we need to try together with more university to create an association here in Canada similar to the ABG, Association Bernard Grégory, to promote the PhD employment. And we need to educate academia to the PhD labor market reality. So more chance to work outside the academia. And we need to educate also non-academic employer to hire PhDs. And we need for sure to solve the problem of the part-time professor precarity problem in the academia sector. So this is something, and for example, you guys, in your supervisory committee, is critical to have non-academia people in the committee, because they will be the potential employer for you after you graduate, because the chance to get a job in the academia is very slim. So this is my reference about what I'm just present, and I am open to any question and to discussion and so on. So I will close my screen. Et je peux répondre en français, évidemment.
Ok, merci Brigitte.
We need to translate for our English colleague.
Est-ce qu'on a des premières questions, réactions à ce que Brigitte vient de présenter, Khalifa?
Merci beaucoup Brigitte pour cette présentation très intéressante, parce qu'on n'a pas l'habitude de voir ce genre de présentation très souvent, et puis ça fait différent et c'est très instructif. Merci beaucoup. Alors, l'idée d'un PhD combiné à un MBA, je trouve ça très séduisant, mais ça ne doit pas être si évident à faire. Est-ce que l'objectif, c'est de faire le PhD en même temps que le MBA?
Oui, monsieur, yes, because we have this kind of degree here at UNB between engineering and they have a special MBA for engineer. So the idea here is to add 1 or 2 years. It will be MD, not maybe MBA is 2 years, but adding doing your PhDs, plugging some course in MBA course training, and have this. You have a lot of MBA now online, or you know, you do in evening class or weekend class and so on. So you can arrange things. And yes, graduate the PhD with the MBA together. Yes, because once you get your PhD, you are very quick to get a job, and then doing a MBA with a job, and usually you have also a family growing and so on, is more difficult than during the time you are student. It will be the best time for you to do the MBA in the same time. Yes. So we have here at UNB, we have our graduate, we send them to do like what we call the diploma in university teaching, and so maybe we need to send them to do an MBA instead.
Excellent, sir.
So the ladies I met, the vice president answer, I don't know if she's still there. She get the job because she has a PhD in chemistry, but also MBA. So this makes the difference to become vice president of ANSOC. So if she has only the PhD in chemistry, she will never get the job as vice president of ANSOC.
Sure. Et c'est PhD industriel, j'imagine que ça c'est.
Industry.
Il passe.
This is similar as the creating. It's we have a lot of, maybe some of the PhD here who attend this session. You have your industrial partner in the project, right?
Yeah.
So in my case, even I just graduated 2 PhDs students, and even the industrial partner has only a bachelor level. He was a member of the advising committee, because this guy is a potential employer for the PhDs. He runs 5 companies in Ontario, and he has a lot of business. And he hired one of my PhD later on, first as postdoc and then after as a true research scientist. So these people will be better fit to hire PhDs than your colleague from the department of whatever, geography and cartel and so on, because in Sherbrooke, how many professors do you hire since the last 10 years? So comparing to the potential of the industry and the government. So like my PhD is Greg Norris here, one of his members is head of Environment Canada, section here in Atlantic Canada, again, potential employer. So yes, it's some things to consider, particularly for the foreign student. You need to, doing your PhD, you need to create your address book also. Not only your thesis, but the address book.
Excellent.
Any questions from the student?
Est-ce qu'on a des questions pour Brigitte? Je sais qu'on a plusieurs doctorants qui sont proches de finir aussi ou qui sont sur le point de commencer là, dans les gens qui écoutent.
Nicholas, I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your presentation. I just have a question about the startup and entrepreneur space for PhD students. So, how you see after finishing the PhD, it's better to go to the startup space and they create their own company, or they select another path to get a job, you know? So after finishing PhD, you have a other option also. Maybe you want to be employee and you get hired and you will have a job, or you decide to create your own small startup and start to put a lot of time, efforts to extend your to grow your company. And what's your suggestion about this path?
This is also not a possibility, but it's a little more challenging because getting a job of already existing company is easier than create your own company. So because in Canada you create easily your company, but also you easily go in bankruptcy. Okay, so you must be very careful on these things, and there's a lot of across Canada in many provinces, there's a lot of funding available for building your own companies and so on. So it's pushed a lot by Government of Canada and by each individual province, like Quebec has the things, and Nouveau-Brunswick and so on. But you must create a company with a business plan and so on is a little quite challenging. And again, having an MBA before launching you in the entrepreneurship will help you to develop your company. So first, take the time of your PhD to train yourself, and then you will see what are the possibilities. But if you have, again, the MBA degree at the same time as your PhD, this will open door, including the entrepreneurship story. But be careful because you create easily companies in Canada, but a lot of companies also are going easily in bankruptcy. So to be on the safe side, I prefer to have my student going in government or in existing company than create their own company. So sometimes you develop within your PhD patent, and then this will be very interesting to promote as in your company and so on. But the chance to get a patent is small. I don't know in Cartel how many patents you have, almost nothing. So this is something, it's more in the engineering side, but again, I try with one of my students to get a patent, and it's a hard job. So it's not obvious to do this kind of things. So to get a entrepreneurship and going your own startup, you need to have idea of what to do and how you can build something different that you can sell some things. But having an MBA for these things will help you a lot, I think, because at the end of the day, you will have to manage your companies and so on, and you need to have business and human resource, budget and human resource management skill.
Okay, just sorry, may I have another question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So because when we received this email, in that email they said 20% of the students just continue after the PhD. So after finishing the PhD, 20% of the PhD graduate can pursue a career in academia.
Yes.
So is there any statistic, index or statistical information about how many students they go to the startup space, or they prefer to find a job? How is it possible to find this type of information?
Yes, this is maybe available, but the major things is among the 80%, you have some entrepreneur here, okay? But I think the majority is more on the type of job. So if you have an employment in the private sector, it's including the entrepreneur. And also, yes, so, and you have a lot of also in the outside the academia, in the government also. So this is like, in Ottawa, you have the Canadian Remote Sensing Center. This guy also, Environment Canada, Fisheries and Ocean, Agriculture Canada, they hire a lot of PhDs. So I can tell you also that one of my friends select his job as a function of the retirement plan. Okay, be careful also with this entrepreneur stuff and so on, because you are not guaranteed to get a good retirement when you this entrepreneur. But in Canada, this is the best retirement plan in Canada. Okay, So together with university. So it's also sometimes important also to consider. I see also a lot of women, female person on the audience here. Be careful also with your job to be able also to grow family. Okay? When you have 2 kids and so on, doing working for your companies and so on will be maybe challenge. So again, the security of a good job in Gulf Canada is not, particularly for women, is quite very interesting. Yes. So I would say, do not close any door. Do not be too much focused, and train as much as you can, and then let the door open. But critically, and including for if you want to create your own startup, critically is in your advisory committee for your PhD, having someone outside academia is critical, because this will be the guy who opened the door, including for if you need to do a new startup.
Thank you.
Bastien Vandendal.
Oui, bonjour Brigitte, merci pour la présentation. J'ai juste une petite question concernant le statut de postdoc, parce qu'on voit que c'est un peu mitigé aussi. Donc on voit ici qu'on voit les ouvertures, aussi bien pour le monde académique, dans le monde de la recherche, etc. Je vais voir un petit peu, moi j'arrive à la fin de mon doctorat, là c'est un co-tutelle, je suis aussi à mi-tax, et là on me propose soit un postdoc, soit continuer mon mi-tax et faire directement de la recherche. Je suis un peu hésitant parce que je sais bien que le postdoc, c'est un statut un peu particulier, ça en est frais certains, ça ouvre des portes peut-être dans le milieu académique. Je voulais peut-être avoir un peu votre avis là-dessus.
Okay, yes. The mi-tax postdoc, it will be a mi-tax postdoc you will do?
Probablement, si pas juste continuer en recherche.
Who is the partner for this mi-tax?
C'est un institut de recherche au Nouveau-Brunswick, en foresterie.
Ah. Be careful. Okay. If it is the one in New South Moncton, is this the case?
Oui, c'est ça, c'est peut être chez vous.
Be careful with this institute. So,
je sais.
No, because this is led by Irving, and Irving is not famous to hire a PhD student. Okay, the Irving companies, they have their genomics program run by a master. Okay, so select carefully your partner for your mi-tax. Mi-tax is ideal. This was the case with my postdoc. He get the mi-tax with the companies in London and get the job after. So be careful with the mi-tax, because and the partner is critical to have this open door for your after postdoc. Also be careful of spending years and years of postdoc. Okay? Because at the end of the day, postdoc is still a temporary job. And again, for the retirement plan is problematic. So prepare your career also with more permanent type job. Okay, because postdoc is good 2 years, but not too much. So mi-tax is ideal, but select carefully your partner.
Okay, merci beaucoup.
Amel, seconde.
Oui, Esteban.
Oui, merci pour la présentation. Je me demandais, vous parliez là, des partenaires dans les comités de doctorat, mais en tant que, peut-être pour notre directeur, comment qu'un étudiant de doctorat pourrait demander à son directeur de l'aider justement pour aligner peut-être un plan de carrière? Est-ce que vous avez des trucs?
Okay, yes. I think the professor is not the best guy to help you in these things. And this is why ABG is working with this career plan with mentor from the profession outside the academia again. Okay. So, and can organize these things. We can create this kind of things, Mr. Khalifa, organize outside the academia club when the student can have this mentoring program like ABG is doing, right? But not the professor, because the professor is still, a lot of them are still too much in the academia sector, and their colleague is only academia, and they are maybe not well connected with the outside academia world. Okay, so so it's why it is critical to have, if you do a mentoring stuff with outside academia, and it's what ABG is doing. You do your mentoring career plan with someone from the outside the academia, from the profession. Frédéric.
Merci. Oui, bonjour, professeur Leblon. En fait, on comprend que la situation n'est pas rose pour les personnes qui veulent s'avancer pour le poste de professeur, mais est-ce que vous avez quand même des recommandations, disons, au sujet des éléments du dossier qu'il faudrait privilégier, là, ou sur quels éléments il faut travailler en particulier pour améliorer nos chances?
Pour avoir un poste de professeur. Yes, research is important. A little teaching is also important. You know, in UNB, one of the last professor we just hired, he already have an answer discovery grant. Okay, because he was again in the province of Ontario as adjunct professor, can already have discovery grant and supervised student, and he was very good. So in a lot of engineering faculty, for example, you need to have experience in the real world before becoming professor. So you have all the advantage to get a job outside the academia before coming in the academia. It's not because you come from the academia you will have more chance. Even when you come outside from the academia, you will have more chance to get a job sometimes. So it's very depending on, be careful. So in many opening, including Canada, this is also famous in Ottawa, we have already the people on the position before the position is open. Okay, so in many of my last hiring we did here at UNB, there were already someone on the position before we opened the position for this guy only, and so all the competition was completely screwed up, was completely not open. It was already target type position. Even like I know University of Laval, for example, the higher PhD, the higher professor on invitation. Right? The competition is not open. You need to be invited to apply. Okay? So last time I know it was a ladies graduate from a PhD from MIT. In UBC, they only hire in some department only Nobel Prize. Right? So this gives you a little dosage. So better to get, not to focus too much in the academia. You can come back into academia later on, but build also outside the academia experience, and postdoc is one possibility, but also having a job. But as soon you are, if you want to be professor, as soon you are outside the academia doing a job, the first thing you need to do is become adjunct professor with a faculty. And then begin to get supervision of students. Even you can access to the answer discovery grant as adjunct. And then progressively build your CVs. And then you will have a lot of chance to become professeur.
Merci.
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions?
Peut-être juste une petite dernière alors, parce que j'ai lu un petit peu votre parcours, là, ingénieur agronome puis un doctorat en France. Après, vous, dans votre propre expérience, vous avez travaillé dans des centres de recherche au gouvernement. C'est quoi qui a fait la transition vers votre poste de professeur? Pour avoir une idée de votre parcours.
Yes. So I went 1 year, I think, as postdoc in Cartel in Sherbrooke. At the time, I get the job, yes. I was amongst the shortlist person. And yes, misters, currently this is still the same case in a lot of departments. Women, female candidate have more chance to get a job than male. because of the positive discrimination. And this is the case particularly for, and this was a scandal in Laval recently, for the Canadian Research Chair. Okay, there's more chance to get a Canadian Research Chair tier 2 or even tier 1 as a woman than as a male because of the unbalance between male and woman. So in my case, I have the chance, and I was the first female faculty member hired in my faculty since 1908. Okay, so for more than 91 years, there's no. Okay. So this also has in some implication. So this in the hiring in academia, there's a lot of other factors than only your CV. And you notice that I speak very little of the number of publications and so on. This is very the lower criteria. The higher criteria is, do you have already supervised student or not? Do you have already funding or not? Do you have already an existing program, research program or not? Do you have outside academia experience or not? Now, we hire lately a professor, but he has publication in science and nature. So this could make a difference. But only a paper in Canadian Journal of Remote Sensing will not be competitive. You need to have all other things. So, and yes, the gender is also, unfortunately for you guys, has also an effect because of the unbalance in the academia. The only place one male student can have an advantage is in the nursing faculty because it's the opposite. But in geomatics, in engineering, in I don't know in geography, but in forestry, in geology, in agronomy, male dominant things. And so because of the ADI principle of all our nice universities, they must hire only women to put the balance back. In the ADI, we have also visible minority things. But nowadays, particularly in the English-speaking university, I don't know in Quebec, but in English-speaking university, there's also a lot of other positions open only for indigenous. So very restricted. So it's why academia, you have the statistics are there, 80% chance outside the academia. So be prepared to work outside the academia. And outside the academia is maybe not a bad thing to do also, because some, I think I tell you, the retirement plan of Government of Canada is better than any university. But yes, working with the government is also, there's some constraint. In every job you will have constraint.
Moi, j'aurais une question pour toi, Brigitte.
Oui.
Il y avait un point intéressant que tu disais là, je trouvais que c'était que vu que 80% vont pas rester dans l'académique, ou en tout cas pas avec des postes de prof, des doctorants, des docteurs, un des points, c'était finalement comme d'éduquer les employeurs dans le milieu privé à employer des docteurs.
Yes.
Comme selon les secteurs de recherche spécifiques des uns ou des autres, tu as déjà des professeurs qui travaillent plus avec le milieu privé, d'autres absolument pas. Puis finalement, c'est comme une petite partie des compagnies, mettons, en géomatique, qui participent des fois à la recherche académique aussi.
Yes.
Comment tu éduques
finalement,
this is
genre,
at scale les
yes,
employeurs?
This is some things again with this ABG Association Bernard Gregory will be nice to do the same kind of things is job fair. So you can then invite the people to attend job fair and telling them in the job fair attendees you will have only PhDs, okay? And so this will give you the tone. And they call this doctoral. And they do this across all the university, across all the discipline, and this is very a good thing to do. is exactly, you know, I know a guy from Agriculture Canada. He was paid by NSERC to promote the research and the scholarship and all the NSERC program across Atlantic Canada for all companies and so on. And he has a hard time with Irving, and he resigned after 1 year, right? Because Irving do not care about these kind of things. So is some things to do to promote this PhD employment, and it's why our answer create could be a good model, and maybe after 3 years, we, not the first, second year, but maybe the third year, we can organize this kind of job fair. Okay. And so this will create like a momentum and then open the brain and the eyes of people. Because the only place I know, they hire, two places I know they hire PhDs better than master for a single reason. One was they were consultant company working for Hydro-Québec. And when they hire a PhD, they can put their budget higher and then get more money from Hydro-Québec. And the other I know was F Innovation. They do the same with Gov Canada. They hire PhD, and once they get the PhD, so they have higher budget, and when they have higher budget, they have higher indirect cost, and so they have higher money to pay the president and the vice president and so on. So, and again, the same model. So it was strictly financial. They do not see the difference between a master and a PhD. So it's why it's very critical in our case to maybe promote the PhD employment with this doctoral model and so on, with some job fair and so on. So it's something we need to think about to organize something, because it's not obvious from the private companies, even from government, of the advantage to hire PhDs. I was one time in an answer committee. At the time was Jean Chrétien in the government. And this guy decided that all the master scholarship answer will be transformed into a PhD because I show you the OECD ranking. So to rank Canada from the 10th place to the 5th place on the OECD country ranking, one criteria is the number of PhD per capita. And so Jean Chrétien want to bump Canada from the 10th place to the 5th place, and then he want to use this criteria and increase the number of PhD per capita. And I asked the president of NSERC at the time, what you will do with all your PhD? We do not know, we have no plan, okay? So, so even NSERC promote the PhD, you have scholarship, you have a lot of funding from professors want to do PhD, to train PhD, but so I just do this kind of presentation, similar presentation in NSERC, and they just realized that they need to begin to think about what we will do with all these PhDs. For people like me, like people coming from Europe or from outside Canada, we do not have too much problem because we have this possibility of immigration. But there's little Canadian going to Europe to pick up a PhD position in Europe, okay? So the job market is very one way. And it's why it is critical here to, yes, you will have so many PhDs, fine. What you will do with all this PhD. And so we need to also to engage discussion with NSERC, with the one who promote the PhD training, to develop themselves also, and it's why the ABJ want to sell this to NSERC, to promote also the after PhD story, because it's critical also. And it was the first time then someone at NSERC say, hey, stop, what we will do with all these PhDs. And this was the purpose of also of this Globe and Mail article, a big was a big blowout in the Anglophone sector, because suddenly Global may say, oh, too much PhD, what we will do with all this PhD in Canada. So unfortunately for you guys, I know some PhD who are without employment, so good employment. So it's why we need to think about system and model to in order that all our PhD will not end up to do nothing.
Ouais, c'est là qu'on... Ouais, vas-y Bastien.
Un petit complément par rapport à ça, je trouvais un système qui avait bien fonctionné, que j'ai vu pendant mes études. Il y a des projets aussi collaboratifs, des fois, qui impliquent des universités, des organismes gouvernementaux et des industries. Donc, moi, j'ai fait partie du projet Aware. Ça, c'était granted par Nicolas Scoop à UBC. Et ils ont mis en place vraiment un système où il y avait une problématique, c'est autour des inventaires forestiers à travers le Canada. Ils ont regroupé, je pense, 5 ou 6 universités. Je pense qu'il y avait peut-être 6 ou 7 partenaires industriels, et puis aussi le gouvernement et les ministères. Et ils se sont mis autour de la table et voir plus ou moins combien de questions de recherche ça les intéressait, de voir combien d'étudiants pourraient faire partie du projet. On a été 25 étudiants, PhD puis master qui ont été mixés là-dedans, et beaucoup d'entre eux en fait ont trouvé du boulot par la suite, parce que il y avait énormément de compagnies qui étaient impliquées, peut-être pas directement liées à un PhD ou à un master en particulier, mais je crois que c'était un système assez intéressant. Je ne sais pas si est-ce que c'est des systèmes qui sont compliqués à mettre en place au niveau du Canada. Est-ce qu'on risque de voir ça un peu plus, vu que ça avait l'air d'avoir bien marché?
Yes, this is a good thing, but I think it's not enough, because I know a lot of PhD who has this connection and so on, part of the big project organized by the professor and so on, and at the end of the day, for me, I recommend strongly a non-academia in the supervising committee, directly, because this, and also for the professor, when we sell this kind of project, I used to sell this to companies, telling them, you will train your next employee. And nowadays, Mr. Vandendal is a little different now, because the job market is labor shortage. 20 years ago, it was too much worker and not enough job. Now it's the opposite. So this kind of message, you will train your next employee, ring bells with companies. So it's why it's a good time now to put the companies directly in the supervising committee and tell them during 3 years, you will train your next employee. And I know that some students fail the marks. They never get a job in the companies was linked with, because they do not a good job. The behavioral attitude was very poor. And then I get a phone from the company say, this guy will never get a job in our thing. So be careful for the student. When you have these kind of people on board, be careful, because this also can close the door. Okay, so like Bob Ryerson, or famous Bob Ryerson from our society, say, I hire a lot of people, but also I fire a lot of people. And so this is also another part of the job market, is also finance one. So, but no, in my case, I strongly recommend you need to ask your supervisor, I want to have a non-academia on my supervising committee. Absolutely. You see the statistics are there. You have 80% chance to get a job outside the academia. So, open the door.
Ouais, puis je pense que c'est ça qui est intéressant aussi avec les programmes foncés là, que nous on a avec Califa, et puis que toi tu es en train de monter aussi, Brigitte, de ton côté là. C'est le fait d'envoyer les étudiants en stage à la maîtrise, au doctorat. Et puis pour avoir beaucoup, moi, parlé avec des industriels avec qui on est partenaire, la plupart du temps, si ça se passe bien, le stage, c'est un entretien d'embauche sur 4 mois, tu sais.
Yes,
6 mois,
yes. Internship is also a good thing, but it's even better to be directly involved with the supervising committee. It's better.
Ouais, non, bien sûr, mais ça permet aussi quand même d'ouvrir des portes à droite, à gauche. Puis, c'est vraiment intéressant. Ouais.
So in my case, all my students, I systematically put a non-academia on the supervising committee, even if they do not have the academic credential. because it's very critical, open door for open the door for the student, because I do not train unemployment people, no way, and surely not when you do PhDs.
Okay. Moi, je voudrais faire un commentaire sur la question qui avait été posée sur les startups là. Je pense que une des problématiques qu'on a aussi, c'est par rapport au domaine dans lequel on se trouve. Hein. Donc, par exemple, si je prends le cartel, donc ce que nous faisons en géomatique, en télédétection, la plupart du temps, ça ne conduit pas à des brevets, ça conduit très souvent à des publications, ce n'est pas des brevets. Et souvent, quand on fait une start-up, la meilleure façon de décoller, c'est quand on a un brevet sur quelque chose de particulier, on peut développer le produit, et donc ça permet de décoller plus facilement. Mais quand c'est des publications et autres, même si on crée une compagnie, très généralement, on doit courir à gauche, à droite derrière des contrats, et c'est là que ça devient très, très difficile. Ça trouve qu'on n'est pas très bien outillé pour faire ce genre de choses. Effectivement, si on faisait cette combinaison PhD, MBA, ça va aider énormément dans ce sens, mais très souvent, on n'est pas bien outillé pour y arriver. Alors, je pense que c'est pour ça qu'on ne voit pas beaucoup de startups dans le genre de choses que nous faisons. Ça me conduit aussi.
Startup is more in the engineering, faculty of engineering. This is where you have the things. Yes, like in geomatics engineering, and probably Naval and so on. And I know here at UNB they're full of patent there. So, but yes, Department of Geography is more classical type things. It's not so engineering type oriented. Yes.
Ouais. Alors, mais le MBA, bon, je trouve ça un peu long. Il ne peut pas avoir des programmes plus courts là qui peuvent être combinés.
The MBA for engineer are shorter than the MBA. So this is completely embedded into an engineering degree. So it's not the same as a regular MBA, but at the end you have the similar program. You can have MBA in 1 year or so, online MBA and so on. So this is something to think about and take because a lot of basic course is part of your other degree. So you need only to have additional course to have more this budget and human resource and business skill and all this, basically all the soft skill you need. But then it's not only soft skill with MyTax accelerate things, you get a degree with the things. So Mrs. and Miss, I need to leave because I have another appointment now. And so we will continue discussion maybe during the conference in Quebec. And think I can't even share my slides with Nicolas. And so you can have some, and I will recommend to read some of the references in my slides, and particularly the Conference of Board of Canada report. Conference Board of Canada is the business people, it's not the academia. And they did this study, and as a warning to government, we begin to have a problem with PhDs in Canada. So this is very interesting that the business people think about further than the academia. So,
et merci beaucoup, Brigitte.
Bye. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, et puis merci à tous d'avoir assisté et d'avoir participé à la discussion.
Okay,
merci beaucoup. Bye. Merci, Nicolas.
Merci à vous.